Greetings all, welcome to Everything Borrowed, where we sit down to share stories and have conversations with entrepreneurs to artists and everyone in between. Today's episode is powered by Blake's Hard Cider, 100% fresh pressed, all natural and gluten-free, straight from our family's 75-year-old farm in Southeast Michigan. Find us in your local grocer or have Blake's direct shipped to your home by visiting blakestore.com. Use promo code EverythingBorrowed to receive 10% off your first order. Must be 21 years of age. Please enjoy mindfully. My guest today is John McLeod, co-founder of Cloud Cannabis. The Detroit native and former Detroit police officer is now a leading entrepreneur in the cannabis industry. After sustaining a bad knee injury while on the police force, John became dependent on opioids. Opioids obviously led him down a very dark path, but cannabis saved his life. John is on a mission to help others live happy, healthy, and productive lives and become the best versions of themselves by educating them through a curated cannabis experience. You know, I had the hardest time listening to a full episode because I was so self-conscious about having to hear all like my and you know that
your
whole
tics.
Thing. Your tics, and you're like, holy shit, I got a ton of them.
Yeah, no, it's definitely it's very, it causes a lot of anxiety.
Yeah, well, that's one of the reasons I like to smoke weed. I like to use it for like an introspective time. Mm-hmm. I don't know, sometimes you overanalyze, but you know, if you can use it in a healthy way, that's why I like to do it before I go for a run, meditate, or work out. It's just kind of like a nice time to be like self-reflective in a positive way. And it's helped me in that way a ton. Creatively, you know, to try to be a better person, all of that shit.
Of course, yeah. And I heard a guy say, and I think it was Ian Gold, but I don't want to quote him particularly, but he said that he uses cannabis as his overall second opinion. It's a second opinion on everything.
That's good. And sometimes you know there has to be time to turn it off. Sometimes you don't want the second opinion, you know, and you just need to go, you know, because you just like overthink everything. But that's such a good. I love that.
Yeah, and it is because it allows you, I think, to just cut through a lot of the BS that we bog ourselves down with. Right? Yep. It's a very pure experience. Hopefully with you and your thoughts, you know?
Yeah, right, exactly. I think it's healthy for people when done responsibly and when done, you know, well and you know, kind of in that spirit, the value you bring, it's kind of introducing people that, you know, otherwise are a little foreign to, you know, the cannabis world.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for us, you know, I mean, we try to reach the cannabis curious consumer, you know, someone who doesn't have any cannabis experience. There's a very mature medical patient record number in Michigan. I mean, we're somewhere around 300,000 registered medical patients in Michigan. It's very robust.
300,000?
300,000. But there's somewhere around 6 million potential adult use customers in the state of Michigan. So it's about reaching those people. It's about making sure that that experience that they have with cannabis is a informative experience. It's an educational experience.
Right.
And it's something that they you know, want to try again because it was done the right way, you know?
Yeah, it's just like having the understanding of like, you know, you don't like pound a bottle of Jim Beam when you're trying to like explore it, you know, like it's like you have like a beer or two.
Exactly.
And, you know, and understanding that difference. It's like, that's the thing with edibles. You'll see people who eat edibles and you're like, well, no shit, dude. You took like, you know, 30 milligrams and like it's your first time. You should have taken like 2.
Yeah, and really for us, it's you got to start slow, right? You got to work your way up, just like with anything else. And cannabis isn't any different, you know. It really isn't. But the problem is if you slam that bottle of gin or if you have that 100 milligram edible your first time, that experience is not going to be representative of the actual product itself, which does a disservice to not only the product but to the individual.
Yeah, and you know, because it can be a very healthy thing, just like anything in moderation, anything done with understanding and mindfulness and all of that. And for you, you know, you actually have got a lot of benefit from it, you know, medically or physically, right? I mean, you know, that's what brought you to it?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. So I, you know, I was injured in the performance of my work, and after several surgeries, I started, you know, a familiar train with taking opiates to treat my pain.
Right.
And, you know,
they give that shit out too.
It's just like water.
Yeah.
And my wife and I, we try to be very natural. We try to be very organic, and we were very resistant, but I couldn't find anything naturally to help me with my pain. So, you know, started off slow, and then over time, it started to change who I was. And I wasn't even aware of it, man. So then my wife sat me down and she said, this isn't working. We got to try something else.
Right.
Hence cannabis.
Right.
And it was like that, man. It was like flipping a switch.
Yeah. You know, when you went from opiates, which, you know, is just, you know, it's life sucking and it's addictive and it takes you down this path. You know, with cannabis, you were able to get the relief and, you know, kind of And do you use it every day still for relief, or did it serve its purpose in time? And how is it integrated into like your day to day, with that pain?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I use cannabis successfully every day to treat my pain. And I'm able to do so without side effects. I'm able to do so at my leisure, so I can treat pain on demand.
Right.
I can function otherwise considerably normally, and do so naturally with an organic plant that comes from the earth, right? So for me, the opiates changed who I was in a negative way. Cannabis has done the exact opposite. Cannabis has allowed me to live the highest version of myself. I wasn't being a good dad. I wasn't being a good husband. I just wasn't being a good person on opiates. Yeah. And, I'm great at all of those things, according to my mom, of course. But I'm great at all those things now with cannabis. And it really, it's transformational. And what I want people to hear is that it's for us all.
Right.
It's accessible. It's here. It's tested. It's reliable. And it's here to do good.
Right. And ultimately, is that what brought you to Cloud Cannabis and the idea behind it? It seems like it started with an ethos of real belief in the fact that it can be a real positive thing, not just a substance.
Absolutely. And for us, there's a huge information gap for people that are not cannabis fluent, right? You get a recommendation from a doctor in Michigan to get medical cannabis, and then what? You go into some of these stores that, look like glorified liquor stores, so to speak, with neon and really funny sounding names on jars, and it can be quite overwhelming. Right. So a lot of people won't even try cannabis because of that experience. So at Cloud, we're trying to make it a more relatable experience. We try to lead with education. We lead with a teacher's heart. It's patient over profits for us, and we really try to make sure that the person is informed, the person is comfortable with their cannabis experience, because that's ultimately what it's all about. It's a full body experience. It's collaborative on all parts, just like life is.
Right.
But that is certainly the way cannabis is treated within Cloud Cannabis. It's for us all, and it's our responsibility in the industry to really reach out to the people that don't know.
I love that. That's the one thing, you talked about your wife, and you try to do the healthy thing. It feels good to do, to sustain from nature. I just know, like, anytime just drinking a tea feels good. Anything that comes from nature, and that, and I wonder, when you talk about the medical uses, besides pain, do you think it has a real place in being a medicine? And do you think that the science is, that's going to become more of a communicated thing at the level of like doctor-patient, or do you think it's more like you got to go outside that medical sphere to get that kind of conversation? And is that tide turning a little bit for those of us not on the inside?
Yeah, I think that tide is turning.
Yeah.
I think there's a big problem with it being a Schedule I drug at a federal level. There's a big problem with the different legalizations between the states. That's an issue that's kind of hindering it. The other thing, too, is that the federal government does not allow anyone to do testing on cannabis.
That's so insane, dude.
So, when I hear this a lot of times, people say, well, there's no studies, no studies. It's, they haven't been able to do studies, you know what I mean? So it's like, it seems kind of counterintuitive, but I think the tide has changed.
Yeah.
People have voted for cannabis. People overwhelmingly have voted for cannabis for medicine.
Yeah.
And more often than not, you hear from people, their aunts, their cousin, their grandma, their child, who have been positively impacted by cannabis. And that is ultimately what changes hearts and changes minds, I think.
Right. No, I agree. And, we're fortunate to be, at least Michigan seems to be at least not last, in the pack of bringing this to legality from a state level. And you would think that the federal level has to kind of come in the next couple of years. Do you have any vantage point on when and if that's going to happen? Is there, in the inner circles, is it understood yet?
I think that, there was a big move with the passing of the MORE Act, which allowed some, lightening of banking restrictions when it comes to cannabis. At the federal level, who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? We'll see. Certainly the votes are there for it nationally. I think that the state of Michigan has been very progressive in the way they've rolled out the industry. The MRA, Andrew Brisboe, who's the director, has done a top-notch job in the way they've rolled out the industry.
Shout out Andrew Brisboe.
Yeah, shout out to Andrew Brisboe. But it's really, we're ahead of it. We really are.
Yeah.
Michigan is really ahead of things and has been very intentional on the way they've done it. So as a state, I think we're setting a great example that could be modeled at the federal level when that time came.
I love it.
Yeah.
And so, from a business perspective, you said you got in the industry 4 years. Obviously, 4 years ago, you said, obviously you were brought to the plant through kind of your own pain a little bit. And, how did it start 4 years ago from a business side of things?
Yeah. So we saw the tide turning a little bit.
Yep.
We saw, more opening towards, more progressive marijuana policy in these municipalities. So, for us, we originally started looking at, it's a real estate play because these are special land use approvals generally, right?
Yeah.
So you can't just put them on any corner. There's sensitive uses that you have to be away from. There's particular zoning. Some cities have been very, very smart.
So were you a real estate guy, or did you get into real estate because you saw this opportunity?
Well, I dabbled in real estate a little bit,
Okay.
but I have a partner who is one of the best commercial real estate agents in the entire country, and he really has pedigree in commercial real estate through his family, and he's had the opportunity to really be ahead of the game on a lot of these municipalities. And what it allows you to do is to get the right spot, because for anything in the cannabis industry on the retail or cultivation or processing perspective, you need a location, right? That's the first and foremost, because they do not allow these everywhere, right? There's only a certain amount of cities and townships that you can put them in, and then they tell you where you can put it. So that's a big piece. So really doing that, and then we noticed this giant hole in the industry where there just was no one guiding that patient customer relationship when it came to cannabis. There was no one who was helping these people out. And for me, I knew that hole existed because I went through it myself, but we just felt as a company, particularly as Cloud, that we can fill that hole. We can make it more easily digestible for people, more accessible for people, and more available to everyone.
And you're really talking about like access to just information, right? Like as far as like how the experience may or may not be, what strains do what potencies, all of that sort of stuff.
It's so important.
Is that the detail we're talking about as far as understanding?
Absolutely, and it's so important. And for cannabis, it's people look at it. It's not just rolling up a joint and going in your garage. That's not what it is necessarily. Listen, I've been done that once or twice, but it's all about the experience. It's all about proper dosing, and some people can respond very well to gummies or tinctures or transdermal patches.
Right.
And some people don't feel those at all. They feel no healing from it. And, it's vice versa. So it's really about an individual experience. We have something really cool at the retail stores that we partnered with exclusively in Michigan. It's called Bud Tender AI. And it's powered by Strain Brain, which is a company out of Ontario, but it's exclusive to Cloud Cannabis.
Strain Brain?
That's what it's called. Yeah, it's great.
It's a good fucking name.
It is. It's a great name. And it's a cool experience because when you go onto our website, it allows you to click through very easy tablets of if you want to feel energy, or if you want to feel relaxed, or if you want to feel sleep, and if you like lemon or you like orange, and it pairs you.
Does it work?
It works great. And
Are you serious?
The guys and gals in the store, they like to try to beat it, so to speak, is what they say, and they like to try to challenge it. They talk a good game. I don't know. I'm very impressed. It works for me every time.
That's awesome, because that is such a big part, right? There's sometimes, you'll smoke weed and you're like, my wife loves it. I'm like cleaning the garage, or I'm like organizing a closet that I haven't thought about in like 10 fucking years. And you're in that zone. And other times you're like, dude, I'm going to sit on this couch and I'm going to binge the show for like 2 hours and eat like 3 frozen pizzas.
Absolutely.
And they're both relaxing, and they're both different. One's relaxing, one's kind of high energy, and they're both good, but I wouldn't want the one when I'm trying to chill, and I wouldn't want the other one when I'm trying to whatever. So I've always just kind of like, I'm always rolling the dice. I had been historically. If you can kind of have, your morning and your weekend, chore list.
Yes.
Strain.
And you're speaking my language here, man. I'm telling
awesome.
you. We are really we're trying to take the guesswork out of it, because what you're doing is you got to find the right effect, right? So our stores are actually segmented out to those effects. So you'll have a whole wall which will just be energized. And it'll just be products that you're going to clean your garage.
Yeah.
You're going to do your chores. And then all the way down the other end, we have that end where you're going to maybe, go to sleep, or maybe watch Star Wars, or whatever it is that, you're trying to do down at that end. And there's a
Planet Earth.
Exactly. There's a place for us all, right? Where the great thing about cannabis is everyone fits on one of those shelves.
Is there like a smoke this and listen to music because it'll make it 10 times. Because I've had some good,
I've
had some great experiences, that I don't think I'll ever have again with music, influenced by, and that's always special and magical.
Yeah, I would go staff picks wall for that particularly.
Yeah,
I think we have a few staff members that would guide you in the right direction with that for sure. But that's a big piece. It's a big piece of doing it right and having the right experience. Because we all want to feel both of those experiences that you talked about. We want to be energized, and we also want to feel calm as well.
Yeah.
I
love that. How many stores do you have?
So right now we have 3 locations. We're in Ann Arbor, Muskegon, and Traverse City.
Nice.
And we got 10 to 12 in the next 12 to 18 months. We have Utica and Detroit coming up soon.
So you got a heavy lift.
Oh yeah,
that's
absolutely.
That's gonna be busy. And so, obviously you didn't go in this alone, or how, when you kind of look at where you started 4 years ago and to kind of where you're at now with 3 stores, looking at more, how's the company and kind of everything evolved?
Yeah,
it seems like you're preparing to move quick.
Wow. Well, just hearing you say that, it's really wild. I mean, we started this 4 years ago essentially on napkins, right?
Yep.
I mean, we bootstrapped this ourselves, still to this day. So we've evolved as a company. We've expanded as a company. I mean, we're like a real company now. We have 80-some employees, and
good for you. That's
it's
awesome, man.
It's exciting because we started it from a group of friends. We have a very, very tight core values. We try to build this as a family company, much like your company. It's a family company at heart, no matter the size.
Yeah.
Thousands of acres.
Yeah.
It's a family company.
Yeah.
And we try to be the same way. So this was started with friends. Some of the best extractors in the business, some of the best real estate, some of the best business minds, some of the best legal minds. I mean, these happen to be friends of mine that we just fortunately were able to start this business together. But it's ours. Mm-hmm. It's a family business that we all just really put our blood, sweat, and tears into every single day.
That's awesome. And, I know when I was starting the hard cider company, there was, I don't know, like 5 years, 6 years that were, you're kind of like, you're teetering back on knowing that there's a huge opportunity and pouring a bunch of money into something that you're hoping your hunch is right. And hopefully the business starts to make a case for itself as far as how it's performing. And where are you at in that journey? Are you kind of seeing, to a point of that the model works and you got something that, or are you still trying to, get it to that point where you really think that there's scale and, opportunity? It sounds like you're planning, so you've kind of proven the concept with the 3 stores. Is that where you're at, where like that's been like what we have is special to go from 3 to fucking 15?
Yeah, I think so, yes. I mean, we've been very deliberate about it, right?
Yeah.
So we weren't first to market in a lot of these communities because we took our time and tried to do it right. We're very SOP driven, very repeatable, right? It has to be, if we're not sitting in these seats next year, the job still has to get done, right?
Right.
And still understanding that we can't hold on so tight as we get bigger and bigger,
Right.
So we just really try to put the right person in the right seat. I think as far as our evolution as a company, I mean, we're probably in the middle, right? I mean, we've gone, to unbelievable lengths so far, but I still think, I mean, the sky is the limit for us, right? You know, I mean, we are ready to ascend past the clouds, so to speak. So, that is the vision. The vision is much bigger than where we are right now.
Yeah. Do you see yourself, staying in Michigan? Do you see other outfits? And who are the big players in Michigan? What are the other brands? I feel like this is, it's very rarely in, when I look at like, just the history, do whole markets kind of open up and you have, a flood of, new businesses popping up around an industry that was, prohibited previously.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm curious what the other brands are that are kind of springing up as well. And are they national brands? Are they local? How do, what is what in kind of the landscape that we'll all be seeing as this industry grows in Michigan?
Yeah, well, we went from illegal to essential in Michigan, which was fun,
That's
in a very short
by the
period of time. But, in Michigan, because of federal, legal qualms that are in place, you can't move a product from California to Michigan. So everything that's sold, that's THC infused, in the state of Michigan has to come from Michigan products and can be sold in Michigan stores. So that gives us a unique opportunity as Michiganders, right, is kind of a first-to-market run at things. So our plan at Cloud Cannabis is to build really deep roots in Michigan. We've seen multi-state operators try to go really thin and really wide across the country, and our goal is we're Michiganders at heart, right? So we're going to go deep in Michigan. Now, you know, we're not going to close ourselves off to opportunities.
Right.
And we've done some partnerships with California companies or Colorado companies or stuff on licensing deals that are bringing specific products into Michigan that are really going to be nice in the market. But, you know, it's a local game right now, which is great. That's because there's some really great operations that have been born of it. So, you know, I mean, Pleasant Trees is a local company that's big, you know, True North, I mean, Sky Mint, you know, Local Grove. I mean, there's some very small cultivators that are putting out some really great products. You know, Mitten Extracts is one of the best extraction brands in the state right now. You know, it's very exciting because you're seeing people that we grew in the industry with really, you know, hit the market big.
Right.
And it's just a great place to be, man. It's just, it's great to be in Michigan. It's great to be in cannabis.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Beverages recently got, they became legal?
So they are going to allow some infused beverages.
What's that going to look like?
Well, it's going to look like we're going to have to talk a little bit off camera, I think. But, you know, we'll see. I mean, it's going to be interesting. You know, it's taken place in some other states. I don't know. I mean, we really just haven't really looked at it that deep. I think it's going to be big. I think the most important thing about cannabis is to make sure that it's measurable and it's dosable.
Right.
You know, that's the biggest thing. So when I drink, you know, a Blake's Hard Cider, I know how much alcohol content is in that can.
Right.
It says on the can.
Right.
Cannabis needs to get to that same spot, you know, and in Michigan with the regulation, they really have. So if you can do that same thing in a drink, I think it could be successful for sure.
What do you think the most misunderstood thing about cannabis is, you know, in the spirit of, you know, educating and, you know, widening the tent you know, of cannabis?
Well, I think the biggest thing is just trying to destigmatize cannabis, trying to get people out of the thought process that it's a bunch of lazy stoners, you know, eating ice cream and pizza all day long in their parents' basement, you know. I mean, shout out to those people too. We love them. But I mean, cannabis is for all. So I think that's the biggest thing is just destigmatizing cannabis. Cannabis is not something we need to be afraid of. It's something that's been here long before all of us were here and long after all of us will be gone. It's natural. And it's really, it does some really good for people. So that's the biggest thing, you know, and it's there for us.
Yeah.
Right? You know,
you said you became, you know, better, you know, husband. You said that you felt that you became, you know, better, you know, in the way you use the plant. You know, have you been able, as an entrepreneur who's, you know, obviously, you know, infused and inspired by, you know, cannabis and is supported by it, you know, has it helped you creatively in your thinking? Do you feel like there's any, you know, way in which it benefits, you know, your entrepreneurial spirit?
Certainly. I think it helps with anxiety. I get, you know, big time. I get relief from anxiety. I think the other thing it does is it kind of breaks down barriers, right? You know, cannabis is an industry where people that don't have to have a bunch of fancy letters after their name and big degrees to be successful, right?
Yep.
It's if you work hard, if you have the right spirit, that it allows you to do so. But, you know, I think for us, it's just really just speaking truth to the plant, right? Speaking truth to its good is the biggest thing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's good. As I said before, like Darren McCarty, you know, came in here and he's saved his life, man.
Yeah.
And he's a big proponent of it. He's, you know, he said he's got the Red Wings on his chest and he's got the pot leaf on his chest. And he's an advocate for both to the max. And I'm like, I love you, man. I grew up watching you. That's awesome.
Yeah, and I feel the same too about both those things. Yeah. But no, I love it. And listen, it's not conjecture. It saved my life.
Yeah,
it really did.
Yeah.
I feel like it's my goal, it's my mission to really help people understand what it can do for good, because I don't know where I would be without it. And to think we're talking about a plant that can be that transformative. I mean, it's just incredible.
I had fun trying to grow them on my deck this summer. You know, we were in quarantine, and I had like 3 plants, and you know, my wife's like, you know, it's like a jungle out there. They got like huge. Yeah. It was fun though. I enjoyed it. It is.
It's an art. I'm telling you, and some of these cultivators, I mean, they get it dialed in. They are scientists. You know, mad scientists, but scientists nonetheless.
Yeah. It's like it's a weird blend between artistry and science, and you know, I feel like like that's the same with our industry, you know, in you know, winemaking and, you know, and beer making, and like there's such an art to it and there's such a science, and, you know, the fun thing is to interplay between those things.
Sure.
You know, and I think that's where we found ourselves, you know, in how we look at what we do, whether it's, you know, making juice or cider or, you know, wine or beer. It's all kind of that interplay of science mixed with, you know, the top cutting edge science mixed with kind of artistry a little bit in your thinking and philosophy behind it. So it's fun. Do you guys do like, you know, do you guys do any like cultivation of like, you know, and genetics, you know, with what you guys do, or how do you guys kind of go about sourcing the different products that you guys serve?
Yeah, so right now we're not cultivating ourselves right now. So we're purchasing licensed product from other state cultivators. Yeah. You know, we're in the process of building out some cultivation in the state. You know, we have a couple 100,000 square feet throughout the state. It's very expensive. It takes a lot of time. But you know, I mean, to be successful in Michigan, you got to be vertical. You got to control your supply chain.
It feels like if you're going to play at this new level of, you know, now that's legal, I mean, it's not a small ball game. You need to be well capitalized. I mean, I can only, you know, and I guess that's the thing. I think there's huge opportunity, but I think if people want to get in it, like, you know, there's cautionary tales. You got to be capitalized well, because it's not a cheap venture.
It isn't
by any means.
It isn't at all, and unfortunately, that's kind of just a byproduct of it being a real estate game. You know, because it's a land use thing, and you tell somebody that their real estate conforms, it becomes 4 or 5 times more expensive than it would for a traditional user. But the nice thing about it is, as I say, that these communities have been able to revitalize, you know, dead industrial corridors, you know, and even some retail corridors that otherwise were not being occupied, were not being used. And those are jobs. Those are a lot of, particularly in the cultivation. Yeah, those are a lot of jobs. Right. You know,
and good jobs, good paying jobs
with upward movement. I mean, these are not jobs that you're just going to go in and you're going to be there for 20 years. I mean, there's a lot of upward movement. I mean, one of our first employees in Muskegon, I mean, he's ascended quite high in the company already, and this is someone who's just worked really, really hard and done the right thing and understood our vision, understood the picture,
Yeah, that's awesome. Is it true that like tax dollars from, you know, from cannabis go to schools? How does it break down? I've heard like a bunch of things. What are the actual things that? Do you know that? Am I putting you on the spot?
No. So
I've just always been curious. I figured you're a good guy to ask.
Yeah, and thank you for that. I'll try to take a basic attempt at explaining it. So, adult use sales, there's a 10% excise charge. Yeah. Okay, so that 10% excise tax goes to the state. It's distributed to the municipalities based on how many license types they have within their community. So let's take Livonia, for instance. Yep. Livonia, who is not in on cannabis, either medical or adult use, receives no tax revenue from the over $1 billion in cannabis sales that took place in 2020.
Is that right?
But a community like Bay City, which may have like 15 licenses, they get 15 whatever clicks at that $1 billion. So that's how that money is dispersed. So the communities that are not in on cannabis,
and then communities can use it at their discretion.
Yeah, and then there's money set aside for education. There's money set aside for research. There's money set aside for certain things. But
education, all of that.
Yeah, education, awareness. I mean, the billboards that you see on the side of the freeway that speak to, you know, keep your pot safe or that kind of stuff. Yeah, you know, those are funded by the tax money generated by, you know, the legal marijuana industry. But the biggest thing is that these cities that are out, they are not getting any benefit from that tax revenue. So that $1 billion in 2020, which we have projected to be $2.6 billion in 2021.
Well, that's a decent incentive to get on board.
You would think. Not to mention the jobs and the revitalization and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But, you know, some cities are slow to the curve.
Yeah, and that's an education thing as well.
Absolutely.
You know, because
it's on us.
Yeah, it's on all of us. You know, it's all on all of us to destigmatize it, but also, you know, I think we're talking about professional operations. You know, if it's anything like alcohol, it's like you're not a Joe Schmo, you know, operation that's gonna let, you know, that it's not going to be not fenced in and just available, you know, viewable by the kids next door, right across from a school. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about legitimate operations, well run, well-funded, have SOPs, processes, are adhering by like a strict code. It's like not the same.
It's not the same.
So I think there's just work to do on our behalf to do that, and also for the industry to prove to communities that that's how it operates.
Yeah, no question. It's a very highly regulated industry, right? I mean, cameras, alarms. I mean, it's more highly regulated than gaming.
They're insane.
Oh, it's insane. I mean,
every tour I've got, I'm like, what?
It's
what
incredible.
Is it like, are we making pharmaceuticals in here? What is going on? I'm like, I go into like this one I went into. It was like an air, I don't know, like an air chamber.
Oh yeah.
And like I'm getting blown off like
with
by cultivation, so you can't go in. And I'm like getting wind blown before I go in there. I'm like, holy shit!
It's those places. You get one thing wrong in there, you lose a lot of money.
Yeah, right. So it's cool to see entrepreneurs like yourself, really making a go of becoming, a big player in an industry with already big players in it. And so, I was looking at some of the it's interesting. I was looking at some of the national news, and it's like, you're seeing like big beverage companies, big food companies, big everything, getting in the game at some point. So I feel like, there's a 3-year period here for real, entrepreneurs to kind of make their stake and, carve their path in this, what will be, I believe, a very, federally legal, operation in 50 states at some point.
Yeah, let's hope so.
It has to. The money, like, we need innovation. Innovation fuels part of the problem, like economically and politically, we have right now is like innovation. When you stall on innovation in markets, innovation in new products, innovation in processes, technology, like it gums up the system, and there's not enough to go around, and there's not enough to, new to, as we automize the old. And so you have to open these things up. It's the only way that you keep the system going. And if you don't, you get chaos. And so you just got to open it up.
Yep. And really, I mean, a lot of people, for them to feel good about themselves, for them to be successful human beings and people in general, they want a job, they want to feel important, they want to feel valued, they want to feel respected. And I think that's the goal of all of this, is to make sure that the cannabis industry comes about in this country in that way. And there's a lot of social good. There's a lot of equitable things that we can do as an industry to make that come to part. But it's exciting, man.
Yeah.
It's just the beginning.
Well, I'm excited for you, man. And so if people want to check out your stores, check out the AI Bud Tender, like how do they find you, and how do we stay up to date with what you guys have going on?
Yeah, so we're on all the socials, but you can check us out at cloudcannabis.com. It has our 3 locations, Ann Arbor, Muskegon, and Traverse City right now. As you know, we're expanding. So stay on top for that. But I would, recommend people try that Bud Tender AI, give it a shot.
I'm doing it tonight.
Oh, it's so fun. It's so fun. And we're running a program right now too, I think, where if you take a picture of it and tag us or something like that, there's a discount.
I love it.
Yeah, the people that are social good at that, they'll know. But it's great. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, best of luck. And obviously, I think you guys are going to do well. And it sounds like you're just a great advocate for the industry and cannabis itself. So keep doing what you're doing, man.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for the time, man.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. You can find Everything Borrowed on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Show your support and drop a 5-star review to help more people find our channel. Don't forget to subscribe. Stay up to date with us on Facebook, Instagram, and everythingborrowedpodcast.com. EBP is produced by Chelsea Cox, Jason Brown, and Vox Adams. Edited and filmed by Nick Ferguson. Art is by Adam Yarborough. Everything Borrowed is an after-hours media production. Copyright 2021.